All right, guys, I got to ask, what in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here with this beta 3.04 version that we've been waiting on for this Deus HF2 coil? Well, I'm going to run you through some tests where we're looking at the bugs and the flaws of beta version 3.04. These are only the ones that we found so far. Some were showed to me, a couple I found by myself, and we're all looking at this metal detector. I was not asked to look at 3.04, nor was I even alerted that 3.04 was even out until a friend of mine from Spain called me and said, "Hey man, 3.04 for the Deus 2 is out. Go check it out." So I did. Well, within 15 minutes of testing, one of my testing buddies, a fellow YouTube influencer, found a problem. Well, we've been tracking down problems with 3.04 ever since yesterday. You're going to see those problems in this video, and you're going to see some things that could be a problem, might be a problem. You guys can comment below. But I looked on the Facebook page this morning, and we've got the Captain Defend a Deus 2 train. You guys know that I love this unit. I believe this is the best unit in the world in iron. I use this unit for diving. I believe it's the best unit for diving. I use pitch tones, and Jethro over on the Facebook page was talking about the other influencers using pitch tones, and that was a mistake. It's not a mistake. I use pitch tones on purpose because it's a dig or don't dig. If I was doing selective digging, of course, I would use full tones. I understand that full tones works on a conductive scale, and I used to use full tones primarily, and that was my tonal options that I used on the Deus 1. A lot of information. Some people don't like full tones because it has too much information. But one thing to note, instead of denouncing what we're showing, we got to remember, all of us influencers and testers around the world, that not everybody hunts the same. You may say, well, the VDI scale don't mean nothing here in Scotland or England or Ireland or wherever you're metal detecting. Well, that may be true. But here in the United States, it does, because this coil will have, as we've seen, Pay Streak running around the curb strips, but he digs everything, so it really doesn't matter to his style of digging. But the style of digging that some people do, they're digging in million-dollar yards, they're digging in parks that are restrictive, and they can't dig like moles, and VDI system where they can do selective digging is a big deal. So we have to remember that. I use pitch tones on purpose. I understand how to run this machine. And instead of getting on the Defender train of the Deus 2, well, what are you going to do when they put an update out to fix all of this stuff? Well, since there's nothing wrong with it, then they shouldn't be updating it, right? Well, I'm going to say this. I love this machine. I love this company, but I'm being critical of them because I think for this rollout, people are paying their hard-earned money for this coil and basically paying customers or beta tester software testers right now, and I do not like this trend at all. It sucks. It's not fair to the end user, and you may say, well, these are minor problems. Well, whatever. They should be fixed, this shouldn't be going on. It's a bad trend, in my opinion, in the metal detecting industry. I didn't expect to see this from XP. Don't know exactly what the deal with that is. Love the company. Communicate with them. They probably will never send me anything else after this video because I'm being so critical about it. Others are looking at it, and I just think this is not good for the metal detecting industry, and it's not a good look for this company, in my opinion. I love this company. This is my primary machine. You guys seen me show this machine kicking butt. I thought we would see that with this coil, but it's just not the case. You guys have seen me put it head-to-head with the MindLab Manticore M8 coil. Does it have advantages? Yes. Does the M8 coil have advantages over this coil? Yes. Go back and look at the videos, But we've got to get this bugs out, and they got to get this nailed down. They need to work on the gold nugget sensitivity, in my opinion. And that's just secondhand info from people I know that test on gold nuggets. But this, I don't think we should be defending them. I think that we should be on their tail a little bit and saying, you boys need to get on the stick over there in France and get this crap fixed. because people are paying their hard-earned money for this. And this is basic 101 operation things. And we seen that from Garrett last time, and I just didn't expect to see that unfold with XP. Love the company, love the people over there. I've had a great relationship with them. I don't know how this affected when I showed the Mind Lab in a negative light. No more Mind Lab products, and that's fine too. We'll buy our gear from now on because we're going to keep this straight, real, and honest, fair, and unbiased, no matter whether we receive gear or not. If we have to buy it, it's going to be the same review as if it was given to us. So that's my take. We're stuck on version 3.04. They took that down. You can't go back to 3.03, which is another mistake because 3.04, in my mind, is worse than 3.03 as far as the ID and stuff goes. So with that being said, check this out. So I can confirm that square is way louder than PWM and high square. This was a bug that was in previous versions that I pointed out, and it is now back in 3.0. Looking at this real, there's a 4-point spread. 88, 92 to 50. Well, that's 4 points, 91, 92. 5-point spread from 29 to 89 on the same coin, same height. So 5-point spread going through the frequencies on the machine. So is that acceptable? You guys comment below. So now I'm just going through and I'm looking at the tone bends, full tones, to listen to the, you can see the TID here. It still froze up coming across a nickel. And it does that in every tones, 2, 4, so that's part of the silencer bug that we've showed where it latches onto the low conductor, see that, and it won't turn loose of it. Now if you run the silencer down, it'll work right if you get into the negative zones. But what I'm looking at now is a conductive. You can clearly hear 2 conductive all the way through the range. So the tone bends, the tone parameters seem to be working right. High tone, low tone, VDI is just messed up with that scenario right there. So on to the next. So this particular silver dime is interesting. Now this is 53 kilohertz. Look at this, 99. Let's lift it up about right here. So what we're getting is we're getting that sliding ID scale down on it. Watch it as I start coming up. See that? It changes a point at 4 inches. See that? Look. 5. So it goes, it changes 4 points going from 1 inch to 4 to 5 inches high off of that dime. That is concerning. Does it do that in 29? Well, let's look. No, it doesn't. You guys see that? So why are we getting the point spread with the frequency being higher? Let's check 89 real quick. 89 close. 98, 89 up a little higher. There goes that point spread dropping. See that? See that? Why is it doing that? Don't do that in 29 kilohertz. That dime should be IDing at 1 inch, the same as at 5 inches. It's in the air. So you guys see it. So here is a nail, a coin, FTID earn. It's a coil width apart, 93. Go in here, let's cut FTID off. running it up to a 98. That's interesting. Let's look at the triple score real quick on that and see what that does. Let's see what the coin comes in on the triple first. 46, 45. Same behavior, up averaging coming off the nail. Okay, so similar behaviors, but we see that the TID being on locks up the ID on the coin. So that's a problem too. It should be. Why is that? Did you guys see that? Look at that nail. Let's cut that back on. Let's look at the nail. 6. Let's see what it comes in. 5. You see that lag? Let's look at that again. Not come in that time to the coin. See the lag? Now again, that's in the silencer setting, and I'm not going to keep beating that, but I've got the iron volume cut up. We'll cut it back down. I'm just going through and I'm mashing buttons. I'm changing settings. I'm trying to look at everything. Let's see if the disc works right. Should start. Yep, they got that fixed with the silencer setting, so that looks better. Let's see here. So we need to get the TID. See that right there? Hover nail. Coin, let's see it again. Let's look at let's go to silencer. Let's go to -1. Nail, coin, instant change. So that's the same problem. Stay tuned. Cap is on wide open, 29 kilohertz. Works. 53 kilohertz. 89 kilohertz doesn't work. So are we just stuck? Works fine in that frequency, but as soon as you change out of that frequency shift and you go higher and it's at 5, it will not knock that out in 53 in the 88 band. So is that going to stay the same, that bottle cap doesn't work as well in 53 and 88? Well, that's a question that we'll have to see if it gets answered. All right, guys. You know, I don't know what to think about all of this. I mean, XP is my favorite detector. I believe it is one of the best detectors ever made. I believe that it's the best detector in iron. But to say the least, I'm very disappointed in the rollout of this HF2 coil, this beta software testing where the paying end user customer is basically become the tester. And I don't like this trend in the metal detecting industry. We've seen the Vortex come out, similar things. We've seen the Legend come out. We've seen it get many updates. And I feel like that MindLab has a better example of putting out a more finished product than any of the companies, including XP and Nocta. It's more ready to go. Even though the Manicore had issues with iron unmasking, we didn't see this type of deal where we've got like basic 101 operations not functioning properly on a coil that people are paying their hard-earned money for. So I love XP. Will they get it worked out? Well, we will wait and see. But I don't like this trend in the metal detecting industry. And, you know, I hate to be critical of XP, but in my mind, they deserve it on this coil and the way this thing is rolled out. And, you know, I'll continue to look at it, continue to update it, and we're going to keep it real here. And, you know, if it gets fixed 100% and it's a stunner performer and it whips the crap out of the MindLab M8, we'll show that. If it's still lacking in certain areas, we're going to show that. So we're going to keep it real. Like I said, XP Deus 2 is my primary machine. Found 95% of my good treasures with that thing, man, or some of my best treasures with it. And, you know, love the machine. But this HF2 coil and this beta version rollout, not very happy with it. Thanks for watching.